We are in beautiful Rosedale with the blue sky above us, and yeah, it's a really good place to be. So what we're doing today is just really going over what's been a very busy week at the council, and actually a very busy week for local government, I think. You've been talking about public health, which is a really important issue, and public toilets is one of the main things that we need to look at.
So in our discussions with the community over recent months, that the issue of the condition of the toilets in the Eurobodella has been a constant comments from the community. I went down to Surf Beach recently. There's a toilet block down there. There was a lot of issues with that toilet block. Often the disability toilet was closed. It was locked on the Easter long weekend and at other times, and that was concerning for people who need to use that facility. So
I think the lease is coming up, is it, on the tenders?
That's correct. So the 30th of June, the current cleaning tender finishes. And I've had a look at the councils in our region, Kiama, Shoalhaven and Bega Valley. They all own and operate their own public toilets. So with the Eurobodella, there's a request for quotation that is going out, which is not necessarily a transparent process, because there's a panel that decides who the next contractor will be, and just that comparison between what Eurobodella Council does and what other councils do is interesting.
So where we're going to fit, if we're wanting to perhaps look at whether it's actually better for the council to do this work rather than contractors, are we going to be able to kind of do anything about that, or is the contract there for 3 years?
Well, that's something we have to look at. And yes, so that needs to be looked into.
So one of the things we have to look at early in our term.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to kind of keep the jobs within council as well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, council used to.
I was pretty sure they did. Yeah. So I need to be looking
at toilets. Yeah. And to make sure that actually I went to Canberra on the weekend and called in at Braidwood toilets, and there was someone in the women's toilet, somebody had put a little container of flowers, and I just thought that was lovely, fresh flowers, and I think it sort of shows that people care, and I think that's an issue. As you say, it's a public health issue, and
showing a bit of pride in the community as well. So put a little bit of something in there to make it nice, as opposed to just a block of toilets.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I thought I'd just introduce Dougie. Dougie is our Labor dog member, and he thinks he's going to be on council. He's going to be voting for dog issues. He's particularly interested in human-free beaches, or beaches which actually have humans on leashes. So he might be giving a bit more
input
a bit later on. So, Dougie.
Some bigger council issues, Dougie. Do you know about it?
No, he's going away now. He's disgusted.
Running away.
He's back again.
You're lovely.
Look, the other thing, as I said, we've had a really busy week. And we had a council meeting on last Tuesday. I thought it was going to be really quiet, but it wasn't at all. There were actually 14 people making presentations to the council about some pretty important issues. There's the Murray bypass. There were 6 presentations on that. A lot of people aren't very happy with the preferred route, which is the orange route. Sadly, I can't show it to you on a map, although we'll see what we can do. The farmers, there's 2 pretty large and very well established farms which are involved. They were saying that this could really quite badly affect their operations. They're interested in a yellow route which actually goes a bit further east through more bushland, going through their productive paddocks.
Yep.
Which I can understand where they're coming from.
And also, that's the one with the smallest route over the bridge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good part as
The
well.
less impact.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the issues always with these things is you've got the marine retailers. They're wanting to make sure that they don't lose all their business, or better still, that in fact this actually increases their business.
Yeah.
And so the retailers are talking about a route which is called the purple route, which is town and makes the town visible across the bridge. So look, there's a lot of discussion still to come. The council made a really good point. Basically, they agreed that firstly there needs to be the New South Wales government, which is the one which will actually decide this. The council won't decide it.
Yeah.
So making sure that community feedback goes back to the government, and talking about the economic and visual impact on the retail and business sector in the town.
David, there's been talk of a co-design committee. Is that?
Yeah, that came up too. And actually, once again, the council did the right thing and put that into their motion. What has happened with the Milton Ulladulla bypass, which once again, that's needed as well, that the state government's got a co-design committee, so people from the community who are involved in the discussions about where it's to go.
Oh.
And they're saying that, why don't we have the same kind of process here?
Makes
And
sense.
I think it's something we really should support.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
doesn't
involving the community.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what we're all about.
Yep.
And the other thing that they did say, actually the council's put this up and the staff, was that what we don't want to have happen is for the New South Wales government to say, oh, we've got the bypass, we'll do that. Guess what? You've got responsibility and the costing of maintaining the existing bridge and the road from Shelley Road to the bridge.
Right.
So what the council has put in their motion is that the New South Wales government should maintain control and ownership of that part of the road.
That's right.
Which is pretty important.
Yeah.
I don't really want to do this, but guess what else came up with the council?
Cooper's Island, right?
How did you guess?
Hot topic.
Troubling
Isn't it?
issue.
Yeah.
Has it ever?
For people who care about public assets.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah.
in public hands.
Yeah.
Well, we thought we on the 8th of June. The council said, yes, it is a public road and will remain so. And the only issue there was about the gate across it, which makes it not terribly accessible to the public. We thought we had another win. I think if you look at our convo on just before the council meeting, we thought, yep, constable's done it. He's got a good motion up, and if that goes through, the gate's so simple. Is that in fact the council has once again, instead of actually making a decision, they've actually deferred it now until the next council. So this won't be decided until the 12th of October at the earliest, when the next council meets.
Right.
We're going to have a 28-day consultation period. We welcome that. It gives us, the community, a final chance to actually say what they want done with this gate. And we'll certainly take that into consideration if we're in the council. We're disappointed. I think I said angry, and we're not so much angry as we're disappointed in that this should have been decided 2 years ago, in 2019. It should not be an issue now. That gate was illegal then, it's still illegal now. It should have been, the council should have made a decision about its fate in 2019. It is incredible that we're still dealing with it now. Anyway, that's the story with Cooper's Island Gate. It's still a public road. The gate is unlocked, and people can go and do what they want to do along Cooper's Island and along Trunkabella Lake, but the gate's still there. When we get into council, I think we need to be talking making sure that Cooper's Island and Trunkabella Lake meets the needs of the people who use it, like kayakers, fishers, etc., and the Aboriginal community, where it's an important cultural site.
For sure. And has there been any issues with the community, the issues previously between the owner and the community?
None that were raised to the council.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then I decided I'd like to talk about the budget. Nothing really much happened about that. I'm not going to really.
No questions came from that.
And then the last one was about the down south. Yeah. What the council wants to do is to open up some operational land the council has to development in Tatiara Street and Dalmeny. The council has two types of land. There's community land and there's operational land. Operational land is basically land they can act like a commercial developer. When it's the right time for it to develop, they can actually sell it without much input from the community. Community land is very different. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
So what happened was that they put in the paper, council paper, on the 22nd of June that they'd sell this block of land. The problem was, it came as a complete surprise to the community. Everyone kind of thinking, what? Councillor McGinley called a meeting. He got, I think, 80 people at that meeting.
Yeah,
brilliant.
And a lot of people who were not overly happy with this sale. And that was very clear at the council. The three quite passionate discussions about it. One of our candidates, Deirdre Rossack, identified some real concerns about fire hazard, and which don't appear to be considered. And we also had other members of the community talking about the fact that lack of infrastructure, which is really important.
Yeah, right.
So what they've done, they've deferred any discussion on that till the next council meeting on I think it's the first council meeting in July. Anyway, so basically what they're going to do, they're going to have an information session run by one of the council staff, and then open it up for discussion again in the first meeting of July.
Right. So operational land, is that kind of like what's on Brayley Road there opposite the RFS?
Part of it is and part of it's not. Part of it, there's a wedge of which is community land,
Right.
which means that the council can't sell that without a lot of consultation with the community.
Yep.
And one of the issues with that is that we're now seeing that it looks like, well, I'll go back a little bit. What happened there was that the council said, oh, this is operational land, we can sell it to developers, developing all that land out beside it. The community said, no, it's not. It's in fact community land. And after a lot of toing and froing, the community was shown to be right. And in fact, it is community land.
Right.
Which means that the council can't just sell it. They actually have to consult with the community.
Yeah.
They have to actually make sure that the needs of the community are best met by having that land go back to operational. We had the same problem with the bowling club site.
Yes.
Right.
That land was changed from
Community.
was turned into operational
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things we've been saying is that should actually be community land.
Totally. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's the issue. And with Rowley, and I think there's been a lot of concern about what's happened there, is that that wedge of land seems to be kind of being nibbled away at.
Yeah, the last venture of the natural coastland, was it the nature coast that they call this area? That's what everyone moves down to Rowley for, is to get away from the hustle and bustle. And slowly it's chipping away and becoming a bit of a suburbia.
Yes. Yeah.
You actually did a good video on that.
Yeah, I'll have to soon. But yeah, it shows how slowly our Eurobadellas just getting a little clawed away and not being that nature coast that we've all come to love and grow up in.
So what do you think we should do about that?
What should we do about
it being nibbled away? How can we deal with that?
I think we need to really consolidate with the community and realise that there are some areas that should stay the way they are, or at least keeping it as green as possible and keeping it that nature feel. Because that's what everyone comes down here for.
Yeah.
They don't come here for suburbia.
Yeah.
They come down here for a better life and the trees and sea. So yeah, I think we need to look into our planning a lot more sustainably.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that we're going to have no development at all?
Oh no. I think there needs to be some areas that'll be a little bit higher density, and some areas that will keep the scape of what it looks like now, or a little bit more housing, but at least keep the feel of the area.
Okay. So how do you think we could do that?
I think some better town planning.
Right.
I think we can really work towards a better feel for the nature coast here. It's definitely comes down to planning,
Ah.
the more sustainable planning.
So one of the things we will need to look at in the council is how we perhaps look at more density in some areas in order to kind of make sure that we all can enjoy the
That's right. Coast. Yeah. We are in a housing crisis at the moment. I think there needs to be a quick solution for some areas,
right.
But for other areas, I think we need to step back and look at what's there, and realise that it's a natural area, and we need to keep it kind of conservative there.
Yeah.
Now, you're pretty big into town planning, aren't we?
Oh, look, I've thought about it, Matt. Yes. The best planning outcomes would come from an educated community. So the next council will be educating the community and familiarising the community with the zoning requirements and permissions, the procedures involved with development, and the legality.
Yeah.
A number of which, many of which are in the state government remit, and we are stuck with, unless that process identifies that there's requirements that really should be changed, constraints that should be changed by lobbying in association with other councils who are in a similar position, like New South Wales Coast.
So it's again taking over the community, taking them with us, and working from the ground up. So it starts with the community, goes to local government, and then goes to your state members and then your federal members to get some change. So it is educating the community on what their rights are and what they can get the most out of their area.
Yeah. So we're actually working in partnership with the community if we do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Part of that partnership would be the community and the council actively researching best practice developments in other places, perhaps in other countries.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if we don't take this proactive approach, we'll suffer the death of a thousand.
Yeah.
We'll lose what we love.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about a long-term plan now, aren't you?
Yes, I can see that when the community's up to speed with what's possible and what's good versus bad development, that feeds into a vision, community-generated vision that can go out 50 years.
Yeah.
Trees take a long time to grow.
I was thinking that.
50 years is not too far to go out with a vision of what the community wants the Shire to look like and be like and feel like when they're old or their children are grown.
You can still have an urban hub but still be green within that hub. It can still have concrete but still work with natural.
So I remember some of the places in Sydney, and I've seen across the world where we actually have green walls.
Yeah.
But behind the green is concrete. The walls are green, and actually kind of provides kind of natural air conditioning. It kind of provides much better cityscape.
Yeah.
And we can perhaps look at that.
Yeah, we'd like to really educate the community on what can happen, and then because the community and council they are one and the same.
Yes.
We're just the people who represent the people.
Yes, right.
And so we need to work together to then change the culture, that is the staff of the council, to work for the community, not against it.
I think that's just the thing. I think that's we do see a lot of anger at the minute about staff. I think, firstly, most of the staff on the council work really hard. They are committee members. They want, as like all of us, have the same type of thing, a lovely,
100%.
green, beautiful place to live. What we need to do is to change the culture, exactly as you said, certainly among senior staff, where we actually have them working in partnership with the community that they serve. And I think if we can do that early in our term, now that means some things. So I think partly what happens, if we have councillors who aren't too sure what they're doing, aren't too comfortable about some of the things that they're doing, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the skills, then it's easy for it to become, for the senior staff to say, well, we have to do something, we'll do it. So what we need to do as new councillors is to make sure that we're up and running really early, and we start to do that culture thing. We know what we mean by change of culture. There's not much point saying, oh, we're going to have a change of culture, and we can say that. What we need to be doing, and we'll be doing over the next while, is saying, what does this mean? What does a change of culture mean? You've said already that working in partnership with the community, and you've actually given a very practical way of doing that. I think that's one of the things that we have to be saying, is that partnership with the community is one of our absolute aims. I think also we need to be saying that we don't give the community surprises like with Tatiara Crescent. That's not the way to work with the community. And same thing with Bowley. That shouldn't be happening where those surprises just turn up.
And it is quite devastating for the community since the Black Summer bushfires. We've lost 85% of our forest, and to just see clear felling of trees, I know it's not it's a complex situation. It needs input from various areas to come up with good, intelligent, sustainable ideas on how people need to live somewhere. So, and as you say, Jack, we can look at what other countries, other councils, other states in Australia are doing. And, we need input perhaps from outside the council. Look at what experts have to offer, and in conjunction with the community. So I think the word partnership is that hits a nail on the head. That's not what's happening now.
No.
And it makes people, angry and feel powerless. That, and now this thing's happening, and
and we can't do anything about it.
That's right.
We always feel like we can't do a thing about it. We get so many Facebook things about, nothing will change. All the councillors are the same. We just get the same. And I can understand that. I must admit, once or twice I've felt exactly the same. What we are saying is that we are working really hard to make sure that doesn't happen, and that we are different, and do start our term as councillors running and actually knowing what we're going to do. Anything else to talk about? We've done quite a bit to talking today.
I think that's plenty of talking for one couch session today.
Or a bench session.
That's right. I think we
just
just remember to mask up when we're public.
That's right. Also, make sure you subscribe. The other thing is we would really like you to tell us what you would like us to talk about. Sometimes just say, look, what about this, what about that, and we'll talk about it. So
leave a message,
put your comments and do that.
Please do.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
See you around.
Covered a bit of ground.